Does the Zelensky letter, which includes an apology and various commitments to peace, which were praised by Mr. Witkoff at the White House today, does that letter meet the standard to the Secretary that these talks can proceed? And will the Secretary be attending the talks that are now contemplated next week in Saudi Arabia? And if you could give us any reaction to the Russian attack on a hotel today, where American aid workers did escape, but at least 4 people that we know of were killed.
Right.
If I could just also throw in.
All right, a third one.
Does the letter of apology solve some of the issues to the extent that the Secretary believes intelligence and weapons, the weapons pipeline and intelligence sharing could be destroyed?
Well, that's a road a bit too far. We will not discuss issues of intelligence or diplomatic agreements or the sharing of information. That I will not discuss. But from the start, after the Friday situation with President Zelensky, and Secretary Rubio was in the room, it was a surprise that his behavior took a turn, and in the Oval Office. And it was clear, as the President had stated publicly, that he was not ready for peace, that there was one thing that he should not do, and that was, damage the nature of what was transpiring there, because we want to help him. We want to help Ukraine. We have been the biggest supporters of Ukraine in this conflict than anyone else in the world. We have made it very clear from the start how we feel about this situation. But even after that, even that same night and continuing on, there was an open door that he wasn't ready for peace. If he becomes ready for peace, he can come back to the table. It was certainly not something that eliminated the potential to continue. But what it did do was highlight, and clearly with the follow-up message from President Zelensky, there was an awareness that, as he said, it did not go as planned, right? It was not a situation that was good or helpful, and as I'm paraphrasing here, and clearly indicated that he was ready to come back. I have not spoken in the last few hours with the Secretary, but I do know that his posture has been the same, is that we have a goal, and we see what's happening. We want to make sure that certainly the President understood what was happening, that this door was still unlocked, that he could return as we were looking at the nature of what was transpiring in Ukraine, that it's a stalemate. The Secretary has called it a meat grinder. Hundreds of thousands of people dead, and the carnage not stopping. It's a stalemate where both parties have to be brought to the table to end it. We also have terrific success, as I mentioned in my opening, at the UN. The first time since the beginning of this conflict, a 3-paragraph statement about ending the conflict passed without opposition in the Security Council, which is a statement from those members, but also from the UN in general. It appears with that note that President Zelensky understands what's at stake, that we are here to help him, that there's one person who can bring those parties to the table, and it is President Donald Trump. The Secretary has understood that from the beginning. This is a united understanding that this has got to end, and these are men who understand what America can do to help that come to an end. And I would believe, with what has been said before, that in fact, if the President and the Secretary believe that President Zelensky is serious and that we can move forward, they have stated, in fact, that we would. So we look forward to that.
And Saudi Arabia?
What about Saudi Arabia?
Is it contemplated that the Secretary would be attending?
I cannot comment certainly on issues that either have been discussed in a diplomatic framework or arrangements that might be implemented regarding these kinds of diplomatic negotiations or efforts. So